Imagine being locked in an empty room all alone, and in front of you, you have a book and a phone. Okay, maybe then the room isn't empty, but you know what I mean. For some reason, we feel a pull to like use the phone because that's like the most stimulating thing that we have available right now. Even if you tried reading the books, it'll be uncomfortable because the phone radiates this energy that says like, oh, use me instead, I'm more fun. So in this scenario, the easy thing to do is to use the phone because the books are just fucking boring in comparison. But then let's switch it around. Imagine another scenario where instead of the phone and a book, you walk into the room and there's only books. For the first 5 minutes, you might be bored just sitting around not doing anything, and then eventually, you'll just start reading. Even if you don't really like reading, it's better than doing nothing. So in this second scenario, the books become the easy thing to do. So this reveals something really simple about the brain, a simple rule that we can take advantage of. The rule is, our brains just want the most stimulating thing available. If the most stimulating thing available is a book, we'll read. If the most stimulating thing available is the phone, we'll use the phone. It's that simple. And here's how we can use that to our advantage. First, let me tell you my personal experience. So like when I was young, going to school felt like being drafted off the war. I fucking hate school. I still hate school, right? That was because throughout my life, work was like here. And we can use a simple graph or chart to visualize this. So like fun, that is all fun. Zero fun is when there's just no fun in it. And then below zero fun is like discomfort. So like uncomfortable things like doing work, or like when it's your birthday and everyone's saying happy birthday to you and you don't know what to do, so you just stand there awkwardly just staring at them and clapping along to the beat. And obviously as a kid, I had way more fun things to do in my day, like playing video games or watching YouTube. And so when those things are all the way up here, they're super fun, obviously I'll gravitate towards them instead of doing work. But around this year, I got rid of all those bad habits and addictions, so now work is like here. It's super fun now. My life is so boring and unstimulating that work is now the highlight of my day. It's the most stimulating thing I do. This is when my mind feels active and feels like play. And if you've ever been on a dopamine detox, you know that this is when you actually have some real fun. Because the thing is, fun is relative. Anything can be made fun, anything can be made boring. It just depends on what other things you have going on in life. If all you do is overstimulate yourself 24/7, then of course work will be boring. If you've played video games for like 10 hours, you're not gonna want to do your homework afterwards. But if you sat there and did nothing for 10 hours, if you just meditated for 10 hours, I don't think you can even do that, but if you did that, afterwards you'll be dying like, yes, please give me something to do. Homework, fine. You actually want to do the hard things now because it's better than boredom. So if you live a super quiet and like low-key life like me, working is actually the highlight of your day. That's how I did it. That's how I made my brain like to do the hard work. I didn't change anything about the work itself. I changed the rest of my life around the work so that work becomes the most fun thing. I didn't use like the average advice of like, oh yeah, gamify it. Download the forest app. Then if you plant the tree, then the tree will grow. And then if you exit, bro, I can't afford the app. I don't think changing the work to make it more stimulating does us any good because we're already being overstimulated 24/7. I don't think we need more stimulation. The thing is, at the end of the day, the results that you want come from that hard thing that you don't want to do. For example, if you want to build muscle, it really just comes down to going into the gym and hitting failure. Just going in, feeling the muscles contract, feeling it sore, feel the pain, and pushing through it. And if you come in with this attitude of gamifying it, guess what? Of like being fun, it's not fun, so you just won't do it. Or like when you walk into class, really it just comes down to walking into class, sitting down, and listening to the teacher teach and absorbing the information. That's it. And that's fucking boring. It's like, what do you want the teacher to do? What are you gonna do in that situation? How are you gonna gamify, bro? You think you're gonna just fucking... Alright, good morning everyone. Today we're going to be learning about the mitochondria. It is the powerhouse of the cell. Please take out your textbooks and turn to page 84. At some point, it's just going to come down to you versus the hard thing. And if the rest of your life is super stimulating, you just won't be able to do the hard thing. It's not about changing the work. It's about changing the rest of your life. I think a lot of people experience this where they do the good habits for 2 or 3 days and then they snap back. They snap back to the bad habits, and this is exactly why. Sure, you can discipline yourself for a couple days to do the good habits, but if the most fun thing in your environment is video games, no matter how hard you try, one day you'll just end up snapping back to video games. You will always end up back here, doing the thing that is the most fun. You need to understand that you never rise to your goals. You will always fall to just whatever is the most fun thing around you, unless you structure your life in the correct way. So this means you have to draw this chart for yourself. Write down the things that you do in your day and then write them in order of how stimulating they are. If you really want to get good at studying, and studying is like the third most stimulating thing, you need to get rid of number 1 and 2. You need to make studying number 1. That's how you're going to excel. That's how you make it easy. If you want studying to be the priority, then make it the priority and put it at number 1. If you write the list and you realize that video games or watching YouTube videos is at number 1, then you're unconsciously prioritizing that over studying. So whatever you want to make the priority, make it the proper priority. Put it at number 1. Get rid of everything above it. Only when studying is number 1 will you actually like studying. Suddenly your life is so boring that studying is now that thing for you. It's like the highlight of your day. Think about how overpowered that is. If you're unmotivated, if you are not disciplined, you will still study because that is just the most stimulating thing. It's actually easiest to do. Like that's the only way to make it easy. Like I can motivate you right now, I can like shout at you and try to get you to study, but you just won't study if you're being overstimulated. But when you're sitting in the room bored, alone, nothing to do, you'll be like, oh, I should study right now. Why didn't anyone tell me that? So again, I highly recommend you to draw this chart out for yourself and write down all the things that you do in your day. This will give you a bird's eye view of all the activities that you do, and then you can structure it accordingly. If you want to make studying the priority, put it at number 1. Make it the priority. Once you live this boring life, you'll find work fun. You'll do the work for longer than everyone else, and you'll do it with razor sharp focus because you're not frying your brain with overstimulation. Stay bored and take action. Key lesson right here. Key. How do you draw a key? It looks like the Grim Reaper from that one show. Looks like this guy. Okay. Give me a kiss. Mwah.